Welcome to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish. I think it's fair to start with the most exciting news that has hit this week, which is Megan Fox's pregnancy. And I guess I don't like. Do you think they were like trying for another baby
I don't
then?
know. I don't know because we don't have any information about them together anymore. I'm like, are they even together now? Or is this just like they're having a kid together?
I know. It's just like weird because, they in that music video, like she was pregnant and it's like, was this all part of the plan? Like they
I don't
were
know.
trying and then they manifested it in this music video?
I know. And then I'm like, are they still engaged?
Yeah. Like I don't know. I mean, she tagged him in her or no, I don't know if I think she tagged him, but she used his song in her
Yeah.
Insta post. So, I mean, they're obviously in communication, but like we have no idea what capacity.
I know, like, are they going to get married? Or are they just like,
It's just it came out of nowhere for me.
I know. Like, I guess, like, I wondered if they were going to try again or not. But then it was like, I didn't even know if they were back together.
Yeah. And then we saw them at Halloween, but that was the first time in a while.
I know. Well,
So,
anyway,
anyway, yeah, I mean, I was thrilled to see it. It was exciting. So I guess we'll just see. I think they said I saw somewhere where it said she was like 4 to 5 months along. So, guess she's about halfway through.
yeah, which is kind of early compared to what everybody else has been announcing.
Literally like the month before they give birth.
I know they've already given birth and then they post a pregnancy picture.
I know. They just have them all banked.
Yep.
I also watched that movie on Netflix, Don't Move, with Finn
Hmm.
Whitrock. Did you see that by chance?
I didn't watch it, but I was looking at it.
I wasn't really a fan. It was
Yeah.
like it wasn't bad, but it was one of those movies where I had to look a couple times to see how much was left so I knew when it was going to be over.
Yeah.
Which is never a great sign. But I mean, like, I don't know. It was like a kidnapping story, and I didn't think that like the acting was bad or anything. It was just kind of boring, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely think I feel like with those types of movies, like the kidnapping thing and like being held hostage, they really have to back on the suspense, or else it's just boring.
Yeah, and this, in my opinion, really didn't. It was so slow,
Hmm.
and it just like it. I mean, I watched the whole thing, but it like I wouldn't tell anybody like, "Oh my god, yeah, you have to watch it." I'd probably
Hmm.
say, skip it unless you really like Finn Whitrock and you haven't seen him in a while. It was also weird to see him outside of American Horror Story since that's the only thing I know him from.
Right.
Like that's all I could think of this whole time.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen him in anything.
No, and the thing I remember him most is I can't remember his character's name in wasn't it in the circus one? Was that
Yeah.
where he was that
Or
like bratty
yeah.
adult
It was that
man
one.
child? Yeah. But anyway, that was really. Oh, I watched that, and then not finished with the Martha Stewart documentary yet, but I'm about halfway through.
Yeah, I finished that one, the Martha Stewart documentary. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I'm at the part like in the middle where they're talking about her going to jail and stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess because we were young
Young.
when that
Mhm.
happened, and just when they're showing how she was crucified in the media, I'm like, I had no idea that she ended up going to jail because she allegedly lied.
I know. Well, I wanted to look more into it because I wasn't sure if that was just like her version of the story
Yeah.
too, but also it just seemed like insane that she was even going to jail. And then that when the friend like ratted her out.
Right. Like I guess I thought it was just I don't know, I didn't like ever look into her case or anything. It was just when we were young it was happening and then that was it. Like she went to jail.
No, well, because we know her as like her comeback too. So
Yeah.
it's not like we were enthralled with it back then.
No. But I thought it was like taxes or something. Like I didn't even know it was originally insider training trading.
I know, I thought it was a taxes thing too, and that stuff always freaks me out, like
Mhm.
anything with money like that, because it's like they put you away for so long.
I know, especially when you have a huge company and it's like
Mhm.
you probably weren't even the one in control and you trusted somebody else and then they screwed you over.
I know, like that money stuff always freaks me out.
Me
Like one
too.
day if we ever make money on this, it's like the first thing I want is like a financial person that
Yeah,
guides us so we don't get in any kind of trouble.
I know.
So that stuff
We know
freaks me
we're
out.
manifesting it. It's gonna happen. But the whole so I mean, I haven't seen like I pretty much know the majority of her story, but I haven't seen it in the documentary yet. But I just like was kind of shocked. Like people did turn on her so quickly with the after the sentencing and stuff. Like or even before that when the allegations came out about the insider trading, it's like why did people want to hate her so much? Like it's actually insane.
I know, but it's like we don't wanna see successful women.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, "See, she couldn't have done it without being a horrible person."
Literally, like, even when they were saying, "Oh, you know, she's so mean, she's this to staff, blah, blah, blah." It's like they said it multiple times in the documentary. If she was a man, though, nobody would be batting an eye. So it's
I
just kind of
know.
crazy that even now, like, people are still having that, like, look to her. Like, I was just listening to a podcast and they're like, "Oh, well, you know that she has that reputation." It's like, what can we change the narrative, please?
I know, and it's like, and if you're in charge of a company and it's like your name and you have these people that aren't doing things up to your standard, it's like you are gonna get kinda snippy, like you're in charge of the product.
Right, like it's your face, your name on everything.
Literally. So I don't get why people have such an issue. And it's like, I feel like once you get a reputation as something, it's like you can never recover from it.
I know. And she was also the first of her kind doing this, like the first woman to be fully building a brand like that. Like she
I know,
had
and
to
it's
be
never,
cutthroat.
I know, and it's never really been replicated
Yeah,
in like that way. Like she literally came from just regular old person and just worked her way up.
I
Like it's so
know.
interesting.
I don't know what I thought. I guess it's just because when we were young, she kind of already had like the Kmart deal and stuff. And so
Mhm.
we didn't really know any different. But I had no idea that she literally started from nothing, like one of 6 kids, had to model to make money for the family, and
I
then,
know.
like, married well, obviously, but then she killed it on Wall Street. Like, I could
I
not
know.
believe that.
I know, I thought it was a lot of fun, and I liked that they showed, like, her little personality in the
Me too.
thing, in the
The
documentary.
pictures, like, why don't we take, like, fun, beautiful pictures like that? I mean, what amazing
I
memories.
know. I know, and I guess she said that for the documentary, she gave them, like, access to all her archive stuff, and she was, like, mad because they didn't use that much of it. She's like, "They
Well,
barely used any of it."
I know, I heard that she was mad about some stuff.
Yeah, and she was mad at when she's walking through the garden and stuff. She's like, "I look like an old
Yeah.
lady." She's like, "I just had, like, some kinda leg surgery, so I was sore." She's like, "But I'm hobbling around like an old woman."
Oh, she is, like, 80 something, isn't she?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I she looks unbelievable. Like, I don't know if it's just amazing genetics because even when, they were showing, like, flashback videos and stuff, I was like, "She's 45 here? Like, she looks so good."
I know, I feel like she looks the same as she has for, like, the past 40 years, literally.
Yeah.
And it's like she's gets around really well too. Like it's
Mhm.
not even when she was hobbling around, it was like she's still getting down in there and
I know.
gardening and like,
Using her iPhone.
you know. I like too how she when they were talking about how her husband was like had affairs and
Yeah.
stuff and she was so appalled, but they're like, but wait, didn't you have affairs too?
No, that
She's
was
like, now
different.
hold on. Yeah, it's like that I had an affair with an Irish man, and then she was, like, just married, and he's back at the hotel, and she goes, "It was just like kisses this stranger." She's like, "Everyone should experience that
I
kind of
know.
romance." It was an emotional thing.
I know, she's like, "It was just an experience, it was nothing."
But then it was, like, the husband. She's like, "I can't believe you hurt me so bad, even though
I
I was also hurting you."
I know, I loved, when they're like, "Well, can you talk about, like, your emotions surrounding his affairs?" And she was like, "I gave you access to all my personal letters, just take it from there."
She goes, "I don't like talking about it."
I know.
Um, Later on, it gets into when she, like, made her comeback with the Justin Bieber roast.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
I know. I wanna look up what year that was.
I think the thing about her too is that she's so smart. Like, look how she has pretty much, I mean, from an outsider's perspective, easily transformed herself over the years to keep her brand alive. Like,
I know,
it's,
like, it was just such a good move to do it.
yeah. And even with the Snoop Dogg thing,
2015.
wow, that was almost 10 years ago.
I know. She, I know they talk about her little relationship with Snoop Dogg too in there. He's like, "Yeah, we were just sitting by each other at the roast and, like,
That's how it
being
started.
friends." Yeah, it was so cute.
That's funny. I think she seems so cool. Like, she is iconic.
I know.
Like,
And she's like the OG
I
influencer.
know when they were saying that, I'm like, "Oh my god, they're right." Like, she
I
is.
know. And like back then it wasn't so oversaturated like it is now, where it's like
Mhm,
anybody can get on TikTok, not saying you'll get success or YouTube and stuff, but it's like it's just more accessible.
mhm.
Where she had to like put herself out there more and then they were like, are they even gonna want to see her on TV?
Yeah.
You know, will
And
that be too much?
like, look what she was doing too. Like, at the beginning when she was doing the catering business, it wasn't like she was doing a party for, you know, up 20 people. It was like
Right.
700 people, like, to get her name out there, and she was doing it amazingly, and then that's her reputation there got her the magazine and then the show and everything, and it's like she had to work so freaking hard, like,
I know.
making food, like, that is just
I
insane.
know. And like schmoozing it up with people.
Yes.
Like they were talking about how she just like knew how to kind of like talk to people
Yeah.
and like get her name out there. It's like you don't really have to do that anymore. You don't have to
Mhm.
know anyone. You can just be famous kind of or
Yeah.
like an influencer.
Or like if you're, a TikToker or like a mom blogger, okay, like I'm not saying that that's not time consuming, but it's definitely not the same type of time consuming as the things she was doing, you know?
And like putting herself where she needed to be. Talk to
Mhm.
the people she needs to talk to.
Yeah, and I mean that she definitely obviously that made her marriage suffer and probably her relationship with her daughters suffer and stuff, but like look what she has. Look what she created for like so many other like people and women in particular. It's kind of
I
just
know.
wild to think about.
And I like too how they're like she was showing women how to do things that they hadn't learned how to do.
Yeah.
You
That's
know,
what
like
like
gardening
made
or making certain things.
yeah, that's what made me mad too is like why like we've talked about this before with like girly stuff and whatever. But it's like why do we villainize that? Like, it's so
Right.
insane, she was literally doing both. She was a businesswoman and she also was, like, a homemaker. Like,
Yeah.
why were you making it out that what she was doing was so wrong?
I know, like, and some I know this is hard to believe people, but some women are interested in learning that stuff.
Oh, I know,
It's
like
like, why wouldn't you wanna learn how to garden perfectly or make the
right.
best casserole or hosting parties and stuff? It's like we don't even do that anymore.
I
Like, that's
know,
not even a thing.
and it seriously is an art that is
It
dying.
is.
Yeah. I mean, I remember like my mom, would like get the magazine sometimes, or we'd look at it in the store, or we had stuff from her line at Kmart, like, or we'd
Right.
watch the show. Like, it was like a part of my childhood completely. Like,
Right.
and I don't know, like maybe like I do like that kind of stuff, even though I don't get like the opportunity, but I think it just showed like me and probably a lot of people like you and I like, hey, like there's different ways to do this, you know?
Right.
I thought that was cool. Cause like she said too, it wasn't the super kind of gross and cheesy casseroles and jello molds that like
Right.
our grandparents might have had. It was like new dinners that weren't that hard and like table
Right.
settings and stuff.
I know. So, it wasn't bad. It was interesting to think about.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that she is not that happy with it though, because she didn't
I
have
know.
the final creative control.
I know. But I think they did a pretty good job, but I mean, I'm glad though that she was still like a part of it because sometimes you just feel so icky.
When they're not.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, is this okay? It just feels like
I
weird.
know. Well, also, it's like, I don't know. I mean, do you want to be fully happy with story of your life that's less than 2 hours told?
I
Like, how can
know.
you possibly tell every single thing that you want to tell in that short amount of time?
I know. And
And
they
I
did spend oh, sorry.
oh, no,
They
go ahead.
did spend a lot of time on the jail part, and obviously that was a big turning point on her life. But I was surprised I thought they were just gonna glaze over it and try to like
Mhm.
go around it. And when they were spending so much time on it, I was like, oh wow.
You feel like they spent too much time on it?
Mm, no. I just was
Mm,
surprised. I thought they were just gonna glaze
like,
over it,
she
like, "Oh,
was
yeah, she went to
involved.
jail," but
I mean, there's a lot to cover there too, you know?
yeah,
Like you said, it really did change things. Like the part I was just watching was where about her stock and how it plummeted like 82 or 86% or something. It's like that
I
is
know,
huge.
I know.
So, but I think it's pretty cool. It's cool to have something like that. And you don't really realize how old she is until you hear like, oh, she's 80, whatever, and you're like, what? Like like
I
I'm
know.
baffled by that.
I know, and even when like, when it started and it was showing all the old pictures and just, like, her talking about, like, "Yeah, I just, like, kissed that guy." I'm like, it's just so funny that we were all just, like, teenagers
I
at one
know.
point, just silly little teenagers that
I
were being
know.
silly and just trying to figure it all out.
And when you think about, yeah, obviously she'd like kissed this guy on her honeymoon, but she was what, 19?
Yeah, so
I
it's like, I
mean,
don't know, it just was, like, kinda yeah, that's bad, but, like, it was just kinda cute,
she's
kind
a
of.
kid. Yeah, yeah. And I bet it was a really emotional moment, like
Right, you're like, "I'm at this
passion
beautiful
overcame her.
cathedral,
What are
and
you
there's
gonna
this
do?
handsome guy." She literally goes, "There's this handsome guy."
We were both so emotional. I
Oh,
love
so
how she
funny.
doesn't have any qualms with it. She's just like, "Yeah, this is what
No
happened."
biggie.
Yeah, like,
Oh.
so what?
No, it's so cute.
Um, what else? Oh,
I w
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I watched that It's What's Inside.
Oh, you did? What'd you think?
Yeah, I liked it, it was fun. It did remind me of Bodies, 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 though. And then when I went on, like, the comments on Letterbox, they all were saying that too, and they're like, "Actually, this could have been called Bodies, Bodies, Bodies."
See, because
But
I haven't seen that one, so
oh, I thought that's the one you said you saw.
no, Bodies, 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 I didn't
Oh,
see.
sorry.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
I
I just
wondered
lied, I didn't see it.
I thought you were saying you didn't watch It's What's Inside.
Yeah.
Um, they're similar, like, just, like, the vibe and, like, the colors and kinda, like, it's, like, rich teenagers is, like, what Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is, and then it's, like, stuff happens, and they, like, play a game, but it's not, like, this sci-fi-ish one like this one was.
Okay.
But it's just kinda like a similar vibe, but still different, like, I didn't
Yeah,
think this one was a copy of that or anything,
yeah. I
but I
liked
liked
the
it.
concept. I thought it was kinda
I
different.
know. I know, I do think, like, it sometimes those, like, artistic fun, like, campy, over the top movies do kinda lose me just a little bit with, like, plot, but I still think it was fun.
Yeah, there were definitely, some gaps at some things, but overall, it was just like a fun watch.
Yeah, I liked it. The girl that plays Nikki,
Mhm.
she is one of the fan cast that people want for Nesta on the Court of A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Oh,
They want
okay,
her to play her. 'Cause I'm like, "Why am I so familiar with this girl?" 'Cause I hadn't seen it in anything, and then I was like, "Oh, that's who that is."
okay. Do you
But,
think that would be good casting?
yeah, I do now that I've seen her, like, in movement, I think that could actually work.
Yeah,
But,
that's good.
yeah, I thought it was a fun movie.
Yeah, it was fun. Just something like, I don't know, fun for the spooky season or beyond.
I know, it was funny to think about, like, spoiler alert,
Yeah.
after the 2 die, it's like, what do we even do now? Because nobody can go back into their body.
I know. I literally was thinking about that because, they're all like, no, put me back, put me back. It's like, you can't
No.
go back because you're dead. Like,
I You just, like, die. I know, and then it's like, of course, I don't wanna go back in my body, but then you're stuck
yeah.
in the one that you're in.
And you have to just pretend to be them.
I know, just, like, take on their whole life,
And
and then
I
it was kind of
didn't see
funny
it
at the end
coming.
when there was sister.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I didn't see that coming because, like, we
Me
didn't know
either.
the whole time that the sister well, we knew her, but she just seemed like a little side character.
Right, and it just seemed like it was the motive for the Forbes character,
Yeah.
and then when it, like, came out,
I was like, "Ah."
oh, no. And then at the end too, where it was like the 2, Cyrus, and I can't remember what her name was, where he ends up actually going to jail.
Yeah, that was funny, and
And you're
she
like,
was
is it them?
I
And
know,
then the sister was in the Nikki. That was so funny.
just, like, loving life.
Took off with the money. And
I
the way
know.
they're all sitting there and like just waiting around.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I liked that one.
That was
See,
a good Netflix original.
yeah, well, I know it's like hit or miss, man.
Yeah, there's not many of them.
No.
Um, what did you think of the Grammy nominations?
There, we got some heavy hitters in there. That's gonna be some tough competition.
I'd say it was pretty expected though, overall.
Yeah. I know, I was like, dang, we really got some good music this year.
I know we did. I mean, because even some of the people that were snubbed, like their stuff was good too. I'm like, wow, can't all be nominated, I guess.
Nope.
I thought like it was, I mean, just speaking of like the Beyonce controversy and conspiracy and stuff, I did think it was kind of like, oh, of course she got a
I
million
know.
nominations.
I know. Whoever wins better thank her.
It better be the first thing out of their mouths.
Well, did you see that thing where it was like, how many there was like a thing where it had all the amount of songwriters for each album?
No, I didn't.
And like everybody else said like Billie Eilish had like 2, Taylor Swift had 4. I don't remember everybody else, but then hers had like 16.
I mean, that doesn't even surprise me.
I know.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, do I think that Beyonce is sitting at a desk, like songwriting? No. Like, I don't even expect her to do that.
It's just funny. I thought it was funny just to see the
Yeah.
comparison.
But yeah, like, I don't expect Beyonce to even write her own songs, like at this point, like, she's never, that hasn't been what she's known for. Like, that's what Taylor Swift is known for. That's what Billie Eilish is like. Her and her brother collaborate. Like, that's their thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, 16 people is kind of a lot. So, anyway, did you feel like there was anybody that was like a huge snub?
Probably just the Ariana Grande. But I couldn't really think of anybody that like would have surprised me.
No, and I didn't. I mean, I'm not the biggest Ariana Grande fan in the world, but like that album wasn't like, I don't think it made as big of a splash as like some of her other stuff has.
Yeah.
So I guess it wasn't like, it was surprising because she typically does get nominated.
Mhm.
But we'll see. I wonder. Oh, I thought it was kind of funny too that it's like Best New Artist, Sabrina Carpenter, when she's released, like, what, 5 or 6 previous albums.
I know, I feel like they've done that with other people too, where it's like, "Best new artist." I'm like, "This person's been around for a while."
I kinda
I
don't think it's
guess
fair.
no, I don't think so because it's like, well, she's, like, completely blown up this go around, but she's not new to the game. I guess she had I don't know what I was watching, but they were saying that she had a 6 or was it 6 or 5 album deal with Disney. So she,
Oh,
like, had to put out that many albums too.
oh, that's interesting. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
that is a I thought that too. I'm like, "Geez, oh Pete."
But it's kinda weird though because her last album, I don't even know what that was called, but that's where, like, that one nonsense song came off of and stuff.
Mhm.
Like, that was popular, so I'm kinda surprised that she didn't get, like, nominated for New Artist then.
Right.
But I guess I don't even know who was on the table. Would that have been last year or the year before? I don't even know.
I don't know.
But
Probably I don't know.
yeah, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's just kind of like, what are the criteria for this? Because it's obviously not a actual new artist. And then you've got like Chapel Roan, who this is her first like major album. And
Right, so, like, that makes sense.
yeah, but Sabrina Carpenter does not. I don't know. Or is it like, her she was under the Disney deal and it was almost more like kid friendly music and now it's like radio play? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't get how they decide that, but maybe it is because maybe she's new. I don't even know. She's new to the new record label. I don't know if that
Yeah, I
would
don't
be how it worked.
yeah, I don't know. But that'll be interesting. I feel like Chapel Roan will probably win that one.
Yeah, that's what I would guess, but who
Yeah.
knows?
Who knows? Oh, we never talked about Lady Gaga's new song, and I just watched the video for it recently because I just kind of forgot about it because nobody really cares about music videos anymore, unfortunately. But I thought that the video was just totally like reminiscent of her old creativity that we loved, but it was like still evolved to who she is
Yeah.
now. Did you watch it?
No.
It was like, I mean, you should watch it at some point. It was a fun video. Like it was pretty dark. She looked great in it. And I like the song. Like it reminds me of the Gaga that we love and kind of miss. But I was looking through like YouTube comments on the video, and it was saying how like there's all these different versions of her within the video, and they're saying how all the different versions represent a Gaga like album and era, and how she's
Mm.
kind of like at war with them and trying to coexist. And I'm like, oh, it must honestly be so hard to be an artist and want to develop and evolve and stuff, but then like how does that all fit together?
Right. I
Yeah.
know, and like to have so much success and like not really be able, not that she hasn't been successful with other music, but just not being able to create the same magic. Must be just, like, so frustrating within yourself, like, "Why can't I get that back?" Or, like,
Yeah.
"What I came up with or why isn't it working as well?" And
Yeah, like did I lose it? What happened?
yeah.
I know. It's also so crazy like we have her on jazz albums with Tony Bennett and then
Right.
we have, like the Fame Monster album that's just you would I mean, it's far and away from jazz. Like, you would never in a
Right.
million years think that she would do that.
Mhm.
It's just kind of wild. But did you listen to the song? Have you heard it?
No.
You should yeah, give it a listen. I think you'd like it. It's actually I don't like want to listen to the radio, but sometimes because I have to manually connect my phone, like it's just annoying to do that, so it'll just play. And I've heard her on the mainstream radio quite a bit, so I wonder if like this actually is going to be a big success. And I think her album comes out in like January or February.
I know that's what's hard if you're not listening to the radio, finding the new music unless they like Spotify pushes it towards you. Like it'll be like, "Here, listen to this." Or
Yeah.
if you're not seeing it on social media because a lot of celebrity posts like are just so spammy that you don't even pay attention to what they're actually posting and it's like,
Or
"Oh, I missed that. You have a whole album coming out."
yeah, or like we don't even see it at all because of the algorithm.
Right.
Like, oh, we didn't interact with them for a week. Now we never see the content ever again.
I know sometimes you're like, are we still like following this person? Oh, there
Yeah,
they are.
I
I
know.
just
Oh, we are
missed
following
it.
them. Yeah, it's so weird. But Gaga has the bleached brows like we do right now, so we're sisters together. Except her hair matches the brows when ours does.
Well, you
But
know,
it's
there's a lot of ways to do the look.
literally like so many people did not like my dad didn't know that I bleached my eyebrows until like a couple days ago. I'm
I
like,
know I know a lot of people like haven't said anything. I'm like, which like I guess I don't need them to, but I'm like, I don't know. I notice. I feel like I notice it.
it's so it's so noticeable. Like I and it's like men don't seem to not notice as much as women, but that's not really that surprising because women just tend to be more like detail oriented and like notice if you like get a haircut or whatever. But I mean, I've had like, some like women be like, "Did you do something different?" And I'm like, "Bleached my eyebrows." I knew it. I knew it was something. And then a guy will be like, "What? You what? There's something different?" Yeah, my eyebrows are gone. Like they're missing completely from my face. Like, how do
I
you
know.
not?
Well, and then you're like, "Oh, I guess I just looked like an alien before and I still look like an alien?" Okay.
I know, like, is it a compliment or not?
I know, that's what I can't really figure out. And I do think it looks more like normal when I have some brow gel in. Like maybe you wouldn't notice it, but I don't know.
I know, like, with my glasses, it looks normal because, like, my glasses are kind of framing where my eyebrows are. But, like, I don't have any makeup on, and if I didn't have them, I would look like, I think, so weird. Like, I like it, but it's so different from how I usually look.
One, I don't even remember what I look like anymore with dark eyebrows. I'm like, I don't even remember.
We're gonna
Oh,
feel so self-conscious when they grow back.
I know, I'm like, what are those
I
things
know.
there?
That's it. People are like, "Well, when are they gonna come back?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like,
Whenever I feel like it.
yeah, or like, they're kind of growing fast, I think. Like, I don't know.
I know I've kind of let mine grow in a little, but they're only really growing in right here. They're not really at
Um,
the tails yet, so I don't know.
my right eyebrow seems to be growing back quicker than my left eyebrow, so that'll be an interesting
Look,
combination.
you put the gel on there, no, and it just all evens out.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
But
Um,
I watched the Jeffree Star canceled episode came out today.
oh, you did?
Yeah, it
How was
was
it?
fine. I know. I was like, It was fine. They were, like, talking about, like, the Dramageddon thing and everything, and he's like he's just such a character.
I know. I never know if I like him or not,
I
honestly.
know, like, because he's so entertaining, and, like, I feel like you'd love to just, like, sit and gossip with him, but also I don't wanna have him close to me because he's probably gonna betray me.
I know, right?
And then it was, like, foreshadowing for when they get in the fight. 'Cause they're talking or, like I don't know if they actually got in a fight, but he was getting in a fight with their fans because they went live,
Oh, yeah.
that whole thing, and it's like they're like, "Oh, you should" or he's like, "You should let me show you how to do the live, blah, 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 blah," and it's like, "Oh god."
Oh, no. Don't
Um,
do it. Don't do it.
you're like, "Please." But he was talking about just well, and they were all kinda talking about it, and just, like, being able to go live on TikTok and how much money you can make and stuff, and it's just, like, so annoying.
Yeah, we
I'm
wouldn't
like,
know because we
"Ugh."
don't meet the follower threshold.
I know, like, we're not allowed to. And then I heard I don't know what I was listening to, but this girl was like, "If you post on TikTok every day for a year, you will make money on TikTok." And I'm like,
Oh, well,
"Do
great.
these people not have lives? Like, how can you, like, put out content?" And she's like, "Then your content will get better as you keep going." And I'm like, it's just so annoying the way you can make so much money on TikTok, but only those certain people
Yeah, like the
can.
stipulations.
Yeah, and then, like, the way people can just give you gifts of money. It's like, oh my
Like, why can't we get that?
god. Right?
The thing that frustrates me, we've said it 5 million times, but it's like, why do we get locked with a certain amount of
Yes.
viewers? Like, I cannot understand that.
I know, I was like, "Why?" I wanna ask somebody that works on staff
I know.
because it's like, what's the point? Okay, so if we post every day for a year and we only get 200 views,
But yeah, does it not matter?
it's fine.
Are we gonna just skyrocket all of a sudden?
Right.
If any of you listeners work for TikTok, please send us a message. We'd love to chat. We need help. Um, we don't know what we're doing. The algorithm has beaten us time and time again.
I know, it's just, like, insane, and then it was like they were coming like, they're talking about it, but it's like, "Jeffree Star, you've had a following for, like, 20 plus years to
That's a
some
shame.
extent." It's like, of course, you're gonna be able to do that.
Right, and, like, of course, people just followed you from one platform to another, like, as soon
Yeah,
as TikTok came out, he was probably on it and people looked for him, and then, that was that, like, he
I
didn't have
know,
to really regrow his platform.
I know, and then he was like, like, "I don't need a camera guy anymore, I can just do it myself, and I just make these little videos right on my phone," and it's like
Oh, he's just like us.
right? I'm like, I don't know, but
It's just hard because, like, I don't yeah, like we've said before, I mean, nobody wants to listen to this, but
it is like there is, like, a knack to it
but
that
that's what I mean, like, we
like,
could
it's hard to
do
figure it out.
yeah, and we could do the trending things, and we could do all that, but it's like, okay, we don't want to just grow our TikTok, we wanna grow our podcast.
I know, and then you're like, too, if you don't already have a previous following, it's like, what's the longevity in this?
Yeah,
Like,
you
you
don't
can
know.
only do so many Shein hauls or cook so many things. It's like, are you just gonna do that for 5 years?
Well,
6 years, 7 years?
yeah,
Where do you
and
go from there?
just like the money, the payout too. Like we've seen what has happened with YouTube creators. It's like, well, is
Right.
that going to happen with I mean, it probably will at some point with TikTok and Instagram and
Right.
stuff. So it's just hard to like know what to fully invest your time in because it all seems so fleeting.
I know.
So I don't know. We just need an insider to give us some tips, maybe help us out a little bit, boost us a little bit. That'd be nice.
Well, and even too, it's like I'm curious of what are actual real followers on the thing, and like, does it matter as long as like I don't know, someone that wants to sponsor you sees 5,000 followers? Is
Yeah.
that all that matters, or
Yeah. Or like,
what?
does it matter that it's, 4,500 bots and only
Right,
500 real people? Like, I don't know.
right. Mm-hmm.
It's so, I don't know. It's definitely a job in and of itself. We've said that many times too. Like, this is why people literally are like, specialists in content creation, and we clearly are not. So,
Yeah.
again, if anyone wants to do any charity work, we can't really pay you at this time. So, it would have to be pro bono, but we would welcome the help. Um, I wanted to bring this up a little while ago, but I forgot about it. Did you see it was like probably 2 weeks ago, maybe, where James Franco was, I don't want to say like complaining, but he was kind of being a little whiny about Seth Rogen not wanting to be his friend anymore.
I did. So I saw that on the Daily Mail. Yeah.
I was just like, do you really not get why?
Like, it's not like they were just nothingness, like, they were, like, not great allegations, like, you're
Yeah.
using your power and a like, acting classes that you gave people to, like, manipulate women, it's like, yeah, I probably don't wanna be associated with you either.
Well, especially as another like heterosexual male. Like,
Right.
you don't, it's in our climate now, like, you don't want to associate with people who are like that because then they're going to think you're like that too.
I know, or that you're okay with that behavior, I mean, we saw that with Ashton Kutcher and his
Yeah.
friendships.
Yeah.
Like, now we're like, "I don't know, Ashton Kutcher, you really didn't know what was going on at Diddy's freak-offs?"
I know. I know. Like, that murder that you walked in on,
Oh,
was
no.
Jamie Masterson involved? We're like,
Right? Did he tell you to scat? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
it's
I
just
know,
like,
it just seems like, I don't know, that's, like, a crazy thing to say, but I was kinda surprised that, like, Seth Rogen genuinely, like, because 'cause I'm like it'd be just a bad look to not or to work with him again, but to actually know that he's, like, kinda cut off ties was
yeah,
like, wow.
I know. I was surprised to hear that, but I was more surprised that James Franco was like, "Yeah, I mean, it sucks." It's like, "Yeah, but it was
Like, can
your
you believe
fault."
this?
Like,
I know. I know, like, I wish he would have been a little more self-aware when he was talking about that, been like, I made these choices and I lost a really good friend and someone that I enjoyed working with, but instead it was like, "Yeah, you kept talking to
yeah,
me."
woe was me. Like, come on. That was just dumb. Like, how could you seriously expect like a person, if it's different, I mean, maybe not different, but like it shouldn't be. But if Seth Rogen was Joe Schmo, but he's in the public eye, like, of course,
Right,
like, hello.
right.
Like, it's just so, yeah, like you said, not self-aware at all. And why are you
No.
even doing interviews and talking about this?
I know, I thought that was a little weird too, I was like, "Well, I don't even know what the context of this was."
Me either. But I
Probably
would
a
say you
podcast.
probably shouldn't, discuss it? Like, I wouldn't wanna be
Like,
talking about that
wait,
part.
maybe it was like a cry out. You wanted Seth to see it and reach back out to him.
Probably, it was like a secret message embedded in what he was saying that only Seth would know, and it would be like a call for him to be his friend again, to
Yeah,
apologize.
like, hey man, I know we haven't talked for a
Yeah.
while.
No, it
Like,
doesn't seem like Seth is buying that.
no,
And I think he was pretty public about saying, like,
I'm
"No."
done.
Yeah,
Yeah, like back when it happened.
yeah.
Yeah,
So, I mean, good for him, but also, like, that is such a good PR move, you know?
I know. It
Like, I
really
wonder
was.
if he genuinely, like, made that decision or if his team was like, "Look,
No,
you've got a
I know.
decision to make here."
It's kind of funny to like think about going through like, North Korea, like hey, trying to like ruin everything or like come
Yeah,
after you as somebody. You can't talk to them anymore.
I know, literally, like, how insane
Who
is that?
else could relate?
I know. Literally nobody. I feel like we should start thinking about our lives in that way, as if it's always like a PR crisis, and like just take ourselves out of the situation and be like, what would my team say? What is best for my
Maybe
image?
that'd be the best like coping before you react
Yeah,
instead of being like, what would this person do? Be like, what would my team be telling me right now? Wait, is that all our voices in our heads though? Like, what's the team saying?
what's the team? All the worries that I have for no freaking reason. It's just my team.
I know my team in there. That is a good way to live your life though. Like, how would the public perceive this by however I'm going to react to it?
Maybe it'll put some unnecessary pressure on you, but in the long run, it'll probably
Yeah.
help
Right. It's like when you're thinking about how you're going to respond to something, just pretend like it's going to go out. It's a
to
written
everybody.
statement from
Yeah.
your team.
Like, do you wanna have to make that notes app apology, or can you
Right.
handle it differently?
Yes.
I know. I think it might help. As our, pod grows, we'll have to keep that in mind, and then we'll never need to hire a PR team.
No, because we'll always be in a PR mindset.
Yeah.
Be like, why are you girls so media trained?
We did it
We did that
ourselves
ourselves. We
years
just
and
ruined
years.
all our personality and now we're just PC.
We can't talk about anything even when we're not on the podcast without it being, like, so freaking dry.
I'd be like, I don't know, Ailish. What do you think?
I don't know, Hannah. It's really hard to say. I just had
we're
a
like
good time.
we're like Martha Stewart, where we're like, I just want to focus on the salad.
Why was that bad? I'm sorry. Why was that
I,
wrong?
I know why people make such a big deal about that. I'm like, that is a great answer.
I would have told her to do the
Like the
same thing.
salad. And now they're like, and she only wanted to talk about the salad. Like that's why you had her on your
Right in
show.
her hand. I just want to talk about my salad.
Salad. It's iconic.
I know. That interviewer was really pushing it though.
I
I just
know. It's
sick
like,
of
come
it.
on, dude. I would have walked off.
I know, right? Like, I mean, that's where she needed her publicist with her that could be like, "Excuse me, we're done."
Yeah,
Except it was
exactly.
live, I guess.
Anywho.
Yeah, that was funny. I'm just thinking about us getting into like meaningless scandals now that nobody cares about.
I know. But then you do have like a Jeffree Star where it's like He was just running his mouth on there, and it's like, gosh,
Yep.
I wish it's like we've completely lost that.
Mhm.
Like, everybody is so PC because everybody wants to just cancel you so quick, and it's
I
like, I
know.
miss that a little bit, like, just that drama, and they were even talking about, like, LA and stuff, like, before phones, he was talking
Oh,
about, like, we
yeah.
just had our little sidekicks and yada, 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 and it's like, it just changed everything, and they're like, "That's just not what's happening there anymore," and it's so depressing, but anyway.
I know we've said that before, even just with, like, being younger with, like, parties or random things. It's like all the embarrassing stuff that we did. Good God, I'm so happy that that's not on camera for freaking prosperity for everybody to see, you
I know,
know?
uploaded to TikTok,
Yeah. Thank
but
God. I'd
I
be
know.
I'd probably never leave the house. Like, there'd be just one video that would never die of me that I would just hate.
I know.
I don't think I had any other, like, main or timely topics. There was a lot of, news this week, though. Oh, did you see, this is just a random Bravo thing, that apparently Teddi Mellencamp was the one that stepped out of the marriage?
Mm.
She was
Well,
like,
look who she's been hanging around with. Was
yep,
it a man or a woman?
yeah, it was, her horse trainer, a male horse trainer,
Oh,
and
that's what they're calling it these days.
but it gets worse. Apparently, he was also married and
Mm.
they were together. I can't remember where, out of state somewhere, while his wife was giving birth to their child.
Ew. Why would you even wanna be with somebody like that?
I don't know. So
Like, that's
disgusting.
the kinda guy you think is just gonna be there for you?
But this is also, I'm sorry, I didn't ever really like Teddy that much. And now it's like, well, my suspicions were correct because she's going to step out of her marriage with some skis ball like that. Like, that's who you want to associate with, Teddy. Really?
I know, like, what a stand-up man you picked there.
And like, it's not like he was a random person that she didn't know. Like, that was her longtime horse trainer. I'm sure she knew his wife. At the very
Right,
least, knew she was pregnant. Like, that's
right.
horrible.
That is ugh.
So, oh, and then it said that she allegedly filed for divorce first so that, what was his name? Edwin, right? Her
Yeah.
husband?
Or Edwin?
Ed, Ed something. So that he couldn't file and put adultery in there. I'm like,
Mm,
wow. Wow. I hope you
that's
feel good
that
about
was smart.
it. That's
Dang, I didn't know that was
our mindset.
I know, like, wow. That was a good team move. She had the team going up in her head.
Yeah, but I just saw that today and I was like, wow, I just didn't expect that either.
Yeah.
That she was the one who allegedly cheated. So I wonder if she'll talk about that on Two T's in a Pod.
Mm, probably
Don't know,
not.
don't care. I don't listen to that. So I've had enough of Teddy and Tamra over the years. I couldn't stomach a podcast too. But anyway, do you have any other topics or should we just move into OC?
Nope, I don't have anything.
Hi, everyone.
Hey!
This is Also Podcast. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Meredith.
We're unapologetically full of opinions on books, podcasts, food, and reality TV.
Join us weekly for deep dives on Vanderpump Rules and Summer House, as well as pop culture news, gossip, and even our own lives.
Actually, I have to talk about this.
3, 2, 1.
I liked this first part actually. I thought that it moved pretty quickly and it was packed with kind of a lot.
Yeah, I wonder what they're gonna talk about if there's really 2 more parts.
I know, right? That's what I was thinking too.
I
Like
guess they didn't really get that much into Shannon, so that's probably coming.
we didn't, but we also did.
Yeah.
Like we did talk a lot about Shannon, but also it wasn't, any of the John Jansen stuff.
Yeah.
So they the first thing I just wanted to say, I know that we all were horrified by Tamra's updates of her chemical peel and her facelift or whatever she got, but she was looking good. She was. Her skin looked great. Her face looked amazing.
I know she's so pretty when she just keeps her mouth shut too, you know?
I know, right? When she just sits there.
She just
She's
sits
like a
there real
little
cute like.
angel.
Yeah.
But as I remember commenting on this, I think it was with last year's reunion too. Like, and I don't know if it's maybe that it's just our camera quality or our TV quality is better, but the makeup is just so heavy on some of these women. It's like, good God, like it really is not flattering.
It looks fine from far away, but it's like when they zoom in, there's a ton of makeup on them.
Yeah. And it just then it makes me look at them on the show when like they're just doing their own makeup or whatever, and I'm like, wow, you look way better there than you do at the finale, like.
Right.
But anyway, right away Shannon kind of, I think she's coming in pretty hot with Tamra, and she really like is not having it with her at all. And she still like wasn't really taking accountability either, and just seemed to want to just like fully put the blame on Tamra and just
Mhm.
deny that they were basically ever friends at all.
I know. There's sometimes during the reunions, they'll start talking about things, and I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, it's like there's a huge chunk missing, and I'm like, so what does this have to do with anything? Like, when you're coming in and being like, we weren't friends, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, what happened? Did somebody else say something? Like, I just don't know what's going on. And there was another part too where I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, I'm just sitting here like, no clue what you guys are talking
Yeah,
about.
where did it come from sometimes? And
Yeah.
then when like I mean, it also threw me off because Shannon at some points was so worked up about stuff. And then Tamra was like, okay, Shannon, okay,
Right.
which is definitely calculated on her part. But when you see that two very different reactions, you're just like, wait, what's going on?
I know. That's why I'm like, where's this coming from? What's happening? Like,
Mhm.
it's just confusing.
Yeah, I felt that way basically every time Shannon was talking this reunion because she was just so heated. And I think it's kind of ironic because she's like, I am healing. I'm healed. I set boundaries. Okay, but like you're also so like elevated when you talk about this. So I'm guessing you're not completely over it.
Right.
Um, She does finally admit, though, that she was drinking to cope and that she wasn't happy. And especially like last reunion, she was basically like, yeah, I was a complete mess. And that was kind of the first time that like she's fully acknowledged that like her drinking was a legitimate problem.
Right.
Um, and then the thing that was one of the ones that I was confused by was the whole like drinking in that alleged treatment facility. Like I was so confused by that. Like Tamra, like it came out of nowhere, I felt, and then Tamra's like, "You absolutely were calling me drunk," and Shannon's like, "That's a lie, that's a lie." And I'm just like, how, either one of you is fully just lying or like
Right.
the truth is in the middle, and I just like I didn't even know what to make of that.
I know. I'm like, I don't even have an opinion on this because I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, because it wasn't on camera, so we have no
No.
idea.
I know. I am getting kind of sick of that. Like, I mean, I think you can talk about like maybe headline stuff, but I think like bringing stuff up that we didn't see is so weird
I know. Like,
without context.
yeah, and it's different if it was like as soon as, the camera crew left for the day, this is what happened or whatever. But
Right.
this is stuff that wasn't even during the season, and we're just totally like, it's just confusing.
It is. I'm like, what's happening? This is a mess.
Yeah, totally a mess. And then again, like Shannon's all worked up and heated. And then Tamra totally knows how to push buttons, especially Shannon's. And her Tamra staying kind of like calm is just riling Shannon up to no end. And then I think like other things happened, but I didn't really take like a ton of notes just because it didn't feel worth it to go into like every single thing. But Shannon, of course, had to have a physical comedy bit in there, as she always does. And they were on the break, but they still like, are filming. And Heather was talking, and Emily were talking about like constipation. And Heather's like, oh, yeah, I got this stuff from Shannon. And then Shannon comes back, and Heather says it to her. And then Shannon's like, oh, I'm about to poop myself right now. And Andy's like so taken aback by it. They're literally still mic'd up, cameras are still rolling. And then as soon as Andy's like, okay, and we're back. And during the break, Shannon just admitted, and Shannon's like, what? What? Like, you're gonna bring that up? Like, Shannon, you've been on this for so long. Don't act like you didn't know that was filmed. But she always has to have like a physical comedy bit every single time.
I know.
It's like, come on. Katie says that she still hasn't gone to Korea because of the death of her father-in-law, I believe.
Yeah.
And then said that they were supposed to be going in about a month, and I'm not really sure when they filmed the reunion.
Mm-mm.
But I did check her Instagram, and they still haven't gone. So at this point, Katie might as well just hope that she's coming back for another season and wait to do it for the show. Like, that'll give her more of a storyline. Do you think that she'll be asked back?
I would guess, I'd say probably like 60-40, 60 that she probably comes back.
Yeah, I think the odds are better that she will be asked back too than not.
Yeah, I don't think they really have a reason not to ask her back at this point, because it seems like some of the people do like her, where I feel like there's been other people that haven't been asked back where it's like, yeah, they just didn't get along with pretty much anybody.
Yeah, and she hasn't done anything that was so disastrous
Yeah.
that would really warrant her to not be. But I do think if she doesn't get a little bit more interesting in a second season, then they might not want her to come back on the show, because she doesn't bring a lot. I mean, if we heard more about like the adoption thing, and like I would be interested in that. I think that is something that people can relate to. Of course, we go into like everything with Heather, and Gina like is defending Heather here, and Gina's like, I don't trust Katie because like you kind of say, different stories. And I was just really confused because Katie was brought on as Gina's friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, were you guys ever actually friends then?
I don't know.
Like, because if you were, wouldn't you know Katie's character and like know what she's like?
I know. I don't know what Gina was doing at this reunion.
I don't know either. And she's a full-on Heather defender. Like I don't know. Gina just Gina's annoying most of the time. We go. Heather literally like skinned and quartered freaking Katie. Like she had enough of this stupid paparazzi thing, and then she had listed like all these ways that Katie had like changed her story about like when they met at that holiday party or whatever that was. And then when Heather's like, well, you like to falsely accuse people, don't you? I was like, oh no, because I had heard a little bit about this, but I didn't know the details. Had you heard about that
I
before?
heard about it, but I hadn't never heard her version of it.
I mean, what did you think about that? Because those versions were completely different.
I have no idea. Again, it's kind of like because that was from 10 years ago. Or
Yeah.
no, that wasn't from 10 years ago. Which part was, or
No,
was it when
the
she
car thing was, she said it
was
was
10
like
years
9 or
ago?
10 years ago. Yeah.
I just thought it was like wasting our time. Just
Yeah.
the whole thing.
I mean, I did hear, I don't, and maybe it came up just because of the reunion. I don't know, but I did remember hearing that come up in the media recently, but I never
Yeah,
like read the articles or anything like that.
no.
I was dying for Emily though. When she puts on her lawyer hat, I'm like, yes, please explain this to us. It's so fun to hear her talk professional. So she kind of like talks about the physical and legal custody thing, which was also really weird. Like it does seem like Katie isn't telling the whole story, but I almost feel like it's because there's something more to it that like she doesn't want out there, and not necessarily that she's like this terrible evil person.
Yeah, like the part about her kids.
Yeah, the custody
Yeah,
thing.
I thought that was not cool to have that brought up. It's just like I didn't get it, why we were bringing that up. It's like, of course, she's not going to want to talk about it because her kids are going to be able to see that. And I don't, it's like, I don't know. It was
Well, and
not
then
necessary.
she said like I I was at a facility that I can't name or something. I don't know if she used the word facility. But the way that she said it, and that's like when her ex-husband had like the sole custody. But when she said that, I'm like, are you trying to allude to the fact that you were like in the hospital? Was or was that just like me jumping to a conclusion there? But just the way
Yeah, I don't know. Right. Because it's like, it could have been anything. It could have been like homeless shelter. It could have been a mental health thing. It could have been drug or alcohol or like a substance abuse thing. It's like, it could have been anything since she wasn't really telling us.
yeah, I know that just made me and I get that like you don't want to air all your dirty laundry like that, but just the way that she kind of phrased that left you with more questions than answers, which is kind of worse because then you're thinking of all the different ways that it could go.
Right.
Then we move on to Jen, and her with all the Ryan stuff. She clarifies that at the end of the finale episode where she's like crying and she's like, I effed it all up, I messed it all up, that she was actually referring to being on the show, and there would never be an article like this in her mind about Ryan if it weren't for the show. Which I'm like, okay, it's so hard because I feel bad for Jen. I think that she she just doesn't know how to do things on her own, and such, like, she's so dependent on a man that even if Ryan was fully involved in this, I don't think that she would like admit to it.
No, I think she just truly believes what he's saying.
I
Just
mean,
like
when
naivety.
right, like when Emily was spewing the facts and saying all this stuff that like that what was it, like 14 million or something got put into Ryan's account, and then he and that Matt guy went to Vegas and Ryan had distributed money into different accounts. I'm like, are you joking? You're going to defend that he didn't know what was going on? I mean, even if he didn't know every single detail, isn't that crazy that 14 million would suddenly just be in your account?
Right.
Like, I don't know. Like, Ryan is just a shady character, like, whatever way you slice this. And then when Emily was like, he is giving information, that's why he's not being charged with anything. Like, he has a plea. And she's like, why does everybody think that? Well, because that's the way the legal system usually works. So I don't know. That was just, I felt bad for Jen, but she also is just, she has those blinders on. And I just don't, I fear that this is not going to end well for her yet again.
I know. Hopefully, they just don't end up getting married.
I know that's
Legally.
the best case scenario. What did she say? Like June of 25
Yeah.
or something? Yeah. So it's just sad, like she just totally like moved into the same like helpless habit that she was into with her ex-husband, and she like regrets not being self-sufficient and knowing how to do things. But now with Ryan, like it's so easy for her to just be like, do I don't know, like he takes care of it.
Right.
As you being somebody who is married, like do you think that you could just not question things if all of a sudden like your husband was like, yeah, like we've come into a huge amount of money?
Yeah, I would question that. But I guess if he was like that when we met, I probably wouldn't question it that much. But I guess it depends on how old I was. Like, I would like to think at this age, I would be like, okay, what are you doing? But if I was younger and they were just like, oh, yeah, I just like invest. And you're like, okay. And then you're meeting all his investing friends. But if it came out of nowhere, then yeah, I'd be like, no.
Yeah. And I think like having kids or not having kids is a huge thing too.
Right.
Because, like, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, oh, you got this surplus of cash, but like, we have children to provide for, especially with Jen. She has so many kids. It's like, that's, if something happens, like, that's really scary.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Definitely she just believes everything's going to be okay. So, okay.
I hope that it is for her sake, but I am not
I know.
sure. So that was pretty much it. And then I can't remember the preview, what it even had. I mean, Alexis comes out and she and Shannon kind of get into it. And I think, again, they talk about the Katie thing with like her daughter allegedly, saying stuff about Heather and whatever. So, I mean, there's definitely a lot for them to unpack for this season. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. So let's stick with the stuff that's actually in the season.
Yeah, like I don't want any more of that outside stuff.
Where I'm sitting there like, I'm like intruding now.
Yeah, like I'm so confused. Like you need to show us the unseen footage or whatever because we don't know what's going
I know, I
on.
have no context to anything they're talking about.
Yeah. And which seems impossible because they film so much. Like, come on.
I know.
You can give us that black and white edit of like earlier this season, unseen footage. Like, give us
Right.
something. My God.
Right.
So, yeah, we have 2 more episodes of this. So we'll see. I think it if it goes with the usual order of things here. The first episode has some stuff in it. The second episode is like total filler. And then the third episode has all the rest of the drama because they want to keep you for that last
I know.
week.
Oh, doesn't something get brought up with Eddie?
Oh, yeah, because Jen is like, oh, well, whose bed was he in? And Tamara's like, mine. And she's like, that's not what I heard.
And that's been kind of circulating for a little while. So I
Yes,
wonder what that's going to be.
well, that's another typical housewife husband allegation that's always thrown out.
That end up usually being very true.
Yeah, whether it's infidelity or, a closeted husband, like they're always throwing that out there.
Hmm.
So, yeah, we'll see. I kind of want Jen to go in on Tamra again.
I know, I kind of liked it.
I know somebody's finally standing up for her. What did you think of everybody's outfits?
I wasn't paying that much attention, but I feel like I can't remember actually what anyone was wearing.
I didn't.
Oh, I don't think I like Shannon's that much.
That's what I was about to say. It didn't like. I don't know if they kind of talk to each other and plan. I don't know if they actually do that or not, but it felt like everybody was kind of on the same vibe, and then Shannon's just felt out of place.
I know, I wish Shannon like for like stuff like this would wear some color.
Yeah, and something that's not so like structured and almost like dated. That this dress felt dated to
No.
me.
She needs to check out her kibby body type. Dress
Well,
for.
that black dress that she wore at the beginning of this season, she looked unbelievable.
I know.
Like, try that instead.
I know. I think she's trying to do like the I'm so innocent.
You're
I'm not in this big flashy thing. I'm very subdued. I feel like that's what she's going for.
whatever.
Take accountability black is what
Yeah.
she's wearing.
The only one I didn't really like that much besides Shannon's was Emily's. I just felt like she could have wore something that was a lot, not even like that this was unflattering. It just felt, yeah, just like a little bit dated. Like it was so structured with this
It
long
was kind
gown.
of just like a lot, like the color, the hair, the makeup, the dress.
Yeah, it was too much.
Yeah, because she's pretty, but it's like she takes away from her pretty
Yeah,
sometimes.
she needs to lay off the lip injections too. Enough is enough. They're gonna literally explode. You gotta stop.
She definitely has some.
She has blindness. She's totally blind to it.
I know. I can't like once your lips have gotten to a certain width, it's like how you can't even go back. Like
I know. Like what? That's the thing. The skin has to be so stretched. Like how?
I know.
How? What if you want to
Well,
dissolve it all? What happens?
I mean, Nikki DiMartino, she got her filler taken out. Oh, I haven't looked at her recently. She got a little more back in, but it literally looked like just flat with lips. Like they
Ew.
were just like but flat. Like they
Ew.
looked like I mean, it didn't look bad, but I was like, "Oh yeah, I could tell that you had the filler removed." So,
I don't like
but it's like
that.
they weren't just going back to what they were, you
Normal,
know?
yeah. It is just like we said, we don't want to do it because I think you do get addicted to that so quickly. And at first you're like, I'm just gonna do a little bit in my upper lip just to add a little bit of fullness. And at first you love it, and then, a couple months later you're like,
Here.
yeah, just go a little bit more. And then you're like, well, now I need to even out the bottom. So I'll just add a little bit to the bottom. Next thing you know, you got 2 hot dogs on your lips.
Mhm.
And Emily is definitely riding that wave right now.
Yeah.
So I did really like Heather's dress. I thought that was really cute on her.
Mhm.
And I did like Katie's too. That like Asian flair. I thought that was
I
pretty.
know, I thought that was really pretty. She has such good hair, like,
Oh, I
this so
know.
silky.
So shiny.
Mhm.
It's like blinding watching. Literally, it's funny that you say that because when I was watching and it was on her talking about whatever, I was just like looking at her hair, watching it like move. You're like, oh, I wish my hair looked like that.
Talk about low porosity.
I so good. Like her hair looks so beautiful. But anyway, and it's just always refreshing when you see a brunette in the mix with all the
I
blonde.
know. I know, and it just looks so healthy.
I know, especially because she's sitting next to freaking Jen and then Gina and then like Shannon. Like they all are so bleached.
I know.
But anyway, yeah, we'll have to see how things wrap up in the next couple weeks.
Yep.
And then do you think that Shannon and Tamra will ever reconcile?
Yeah.
I think they will too. I think
They
come
always talk a big game.
Mhm. Yeah, but they'll be like, "We can't stay away."
They'll have some heart to heart. Like, we really were friends. We were
Mhm.
perfect.
Exactly. Well, do you have a recommendation for this week?
Trader Joe's Thanksgiving popcorn.
Ooh, yum.
It was so good. Last year I got the Thanksgiving like potato chips. I didn't like those as much, but this year they have the popcorn. So good. I wish I would have bought 6 bags of it.
Does it taste like stuffing? Like what is the flavor?
Yeah, it's like stuffing, like Thanksgiving seasoning.
Oh my gosh, yum. I need to go maybe in a couple weeks. I think I'm going to go. I hate it when, because my dad will drive by one a lot more frequently than I do. And I'll be like, when are you going again? And he's like, I'm not. I'm like, can't you just stop and get me something?
Right.
It's not
I
fair.
know.
Um,
No.
well, I am just gonna do kind of a basic recommendation because I have like a little tickle in my throat, and I don't know if it's because of how dry my apartment is. You might have heard my humidifier running in the background. I'm not sure if that picks up on here or not. But I'm gonna just recommend. I have this really yummy lemon ginger tea from I think it's from, yeah, Bigelow, and I added honey to it, and it is just very soothing. So
Mhm.
that just always feels good.
Yep. That time of year.
I know. But it's like it's that weird thing where you can't tell if you're actually getting sick or if it's just the dryness that gets you because I'm so sensitive
Right.
to that.
And the fall allergies.
Yeah, I know. Also, we both are now finished with Anna Marie Tendler's book, and we cannot wait to discuss this with all of you toward the end of the month.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's all. That's all we'll say about that. I will say both of us are happy to be done with it.
Yeah.
So, but we have to think of what we want our next book club book to be. I don't know. I was on, or I think I still am on the list for Kelly Bishop's book, from Gilmore Girls, but I've been on the list for that for quite a while because that just recently came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. We'll have to discuss that and think about it for December, but we have quite a ways for that yet. So,
Yes.
all right. Well, with all that being said, we will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to follow us, give us a rating. We would love it so much. We'd love it even more if you gave us a nice review and if you told a friend about us. So, thank you for listening.
Bye.